Hello, everyone, and welcome to online teaching and learning. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Buthaina Shaheen, and I am a teacher in social sciences and English language at the Danish Red Cross in Denmark. So please be with me and thank you so much for joining. So, the very first theme we're going to talk about is social classes. So, please, I would like to invite you to think with me what we exactly mean when we say social and what do we mean when we say classes. So, if we say social, we refer to society. It is something related to society, it's social. And then we say classes, it's also something related to what kind of classes do we have in society. We were going to explain in details in a minute. So please tell me, when you think about classes, the word classes or the notion classes, who would you be thinking of? I would suppose you might be thinking of this person. 1 second, I'm going to play my presentation. So you might be thinking of course, Karl Marx. He is very much known all over the world. First of all, let's have a very brief summary of Karl Marx. Karl Marx, he was born in Prussia, which is Germany now. He was born in 1818 and he died in 1883 in England. He was very revolutionary. He was a historian, sociologist, and an economist. So Marx, together with his comrade Friedrich Engels, wrote the basic for social classes, which you will find in their thin book, which is called the Communist Manifesto. They have written it in 1848. It is very famous and the most celebrated book in history of socialist movement. And this socialist movement we're talking about is also inspired by Karl Marx's book Das Kapital. So Marx, he was the author of the socialist movement's most important book, Das Kapital, which is a German word or phrase, and it means the capital in English. And when we say the capital, we refer to something we own, a capital. It could be a economist capital, like for example, you own a factory, machinery, something like that. Or you can also say actually social capital if you have some competences, or cultural capital if you speak a lot of languages, if you have diverse backgrounds, etc. So let's stick to our topic. The writings which Marx and Engels included in their writings or in their books, they actually form the basic of thought and belief, which has become to be very much known as Marxism or socialism or communism. It's a very, very big school, but we're not going to dig into it right now because we're going to stick on social classes. We might do that later on in our online classes. So, When we say social classes, what do we refer to? According to Marx, society is composed of two classes. The first one is the bourgeoisie, as you see here on my presentation, and the second one is the proletariat. The bourgeoisie makes of or is composed of capitalists or the owners of means of production. Think about factories, think about businesses, think about banks. Who own all these things? These things are owned by capitalists because they have the capital in these buildings or companies, etc. And then you have people working in these factories or buildings. They are called the proletariat. They are the workers who work there. This is very, very simple classification of classes or division of classes. So if we go further to see what exactly Marx was thinking about, he was thinking, or he was actually defending the notion that society is composed of two camps or two classes, as we said earlier, bourgeoisie and proletariat, capitalists and workers. These two camps or classes, they are hostile to each other. If you want, they are enemy. Uh, they are enemy, yeah. So, and Marx actually says the history of existing society is the history of class struggle. He means there has been always a struggle in society between these two big classes. Think just about it. And according to Marx again, the social organization of our society is built upon a system of economic production. This means you have these social classes. If you have the capitalists, for example, the capitalists, they are or they make the class which is an aggregate, like a collection, a total of persons who play the same part in the production mechanism. So it means they contribute to society by their ownership of production. So people like Trump, for example, or Bill Gates, they own capital, they own factories, software, etc. So they make a class which we can call the capitalist class. They own the means of production in society. So, yeah, these are the capitalists. So, all in all, according to Marx, again, we have like two main classes in society, capitalists, and then you have workers. They are the ones who are employed by the others. And if you think more historically, then we have the landlords. The landlords, they are the survivors of feudalism, like the ones, the people who own the lands. So, but Marx's theory, it was prominent in 1800, but now we are in a different age. And after the 1800, many other sociologists have actually either criticized Marx or they have added some other um, fa- factors or some other factors which or by which they would define classes. So, according to another sociologist who's called Max Weber, the division or the classification of class according to Marx is kind of simple. So that's why Weber added other factors. So he said power and prestige, they can also be an integral part of the class division in society, which means it's not enough that the economic factors, like what kind of work or how much money you earn, that decide on what kind of classes you belong to. But according to Weber, it's also what kind of status you have in society. Do you have a high ranking status? Are you, for example, a manager, or you are a teacher, or you are a worker in a supermarket, or what are you exactly? These things, they are called social status. So they are also factors of kind of determining or deciding what kind of classes you have in society or you belong to in society. So, yeah, so this is kind of, if we go back, sorry, if we go back here, and this is kind of the basic interpretation or explanation of classes in human, not in human history, but like in the modern history, I would say. So think about it a little bit, and think what kind of other factors, like social markers, could also play in to decide what kind of group or class you could be belonging to in society. Like, this is only to stimulate your thinking and see if you have any other ideas, or if you agree with this theory or not. It's of course up to you how you would like to interpret it or think about it. So, what I would like very kindly to ask you to do at home after you listened and you engaged in this presentation is to engage with these questions. I would like to ask you to think about the societies you know or you have lived in, maybe in Denmark or in other countries where you were born or where you have lived before you moved to Denmark. What kind of societies you lived in? What kind of classes you have seen in these societies? Do you see only two classes, or you see more classes? Think about it and write it down. And what do you think about Marx's theory of class? Is it very simple, or is it complicated, or what is it? What do you think about Weber's theory of class? Is this enough? Is this satisfactory? Or you want to add the new factors, or you want maybe to research and investigate more and see if there are other factors. Sorry. So in the end of this presentation, I would like to advise that you can read further, and I have some links here which I'm going also to upload on our self-study portal. One of them is to read more about Karl Marx as one of the greatest philosophers in the world. And then you could also be reading his Communist Manifesto, which he wrote with Frederick Engels. And I have also a PDF with it. It's here. I would be also uploading it on our portal. And then maybe you want to see a video on Karl Marx. It's in English. Yeah. And then you can be learning more about his travel from Germany to England, and why did he travel, what kind of thoughts he brought with him to England, and how his thoughts have been traveling everywhere in the world. And then you can also be seeing a film on political theory about Marx's political theory, of course. And then you could, if you want, read more about Weber's theory of social classes. What do you think about it? So, and lastly, if you feel like some words are difficult for you, and yeah, and so please find the words in this dictionary. It's called Cambridge Online Dictionary. You can just click onto the link, and then you can write in the word you think you want to know, and then you can listen to the word, the pronunciation, the way it is pronounced, and then what kind of meanings these words have. And lastly, I would say thank you so much for joining me, and uh, please see this presentation and advise it to other comrades or friends if you want. And I hope to see you again with the next theme. Thank you. Bye bye.